Hello friends, and welcome to CJoy Yoga Online Studio and Wellness channel. Today we are going to do kind of a wham bam thank you ma'am, simply in the sense that without all the salutations and other things in between, we're going to do just a couple of things that open the body into these positions. We'll start on the ground where it's the easiest, and then we'll bring it up onto one leg in a balancing pose. We're going to go through some of the Supta Padangusthasana stuff. If you want to blanket down, since we're going to be laying on our belly, feel free to put a blanket underneath you. A, for warmth, it's a cold time of year. B, just so you have a little softness underneath joints. And if you have a D-ring strap, grab it and make a small loop as such. If you don't have a D-ring strap, you could still use a belt or something, you know, like a bathrobe tie or something like that, and you'll just have to use the two edges as your pull instead of since you don't have a loop capacity. Okay, click pause, get that if you need to. Have that standing by on the right side of your mat. Come down onto your belly into crocodile. Now, a couple of versions for crocodile. If your shoulders are feeling really tight, arms by the side with your palms up for now, right? Head facing one direction. Maybe elbows wide, hands stacked, forehead can come to the back of the hands. Maybe you can creep those arms in a little bit, grab your elbow points, cross forearms, and soften your head down to your forearms. Now, get settled in here, and what I mean by that is I'm going to give a couple more cues that might help you with that. If you curl your right toes under and kind of lift the leg a little bit and push the heel back, you might get space at the front right hip joint. And then go back to your neutral, uncurled toes. Curl your left toes under and do the same thing. Try to get space right at the front of the hip joint and uncurl. And then either version of crocodile with the arms forward, you might slide your elbows just a little forward as if your armpits could get a little closer to the floor. Now, just pause here and soften in. I'm going to make fist pillows and go into a slightly different position just so my voice is a little better, my vocal quality, right? But hopefully you're still completely relaxed down. You don't need to see the screen right now. Soften your tongue and your jaw and your brow, right? Check into your neck. Make sure it's not grabbing on. Check into the upper back and the area around the shoulder blades, the shoulders. And, you know, anywhere else in your body, but I'm bringing you into that upper body first, since this is a small opening. For some folks, a big opening in that upper back neck area. Right? And then our first move goes like this. We're going to let the right knee come out to the side, almost in what would be like a half frog pose, right? So I've got that 90-degree angle-ish. It doesn't have to be 90 degrees if your hip's like, no way, right? The right knee comes out from the right hip, the right heel is down from the right knee, and my foot is a little bit flexed. And then find softness. So I just had you use muscular action to get there, but then once you're there, can you just soften? And can you let that right hip be really heavy, almost like it could stretch down to the ground? And take about 2 breaths into that inner right hip, groin, pelvis area. And then if you have that strap handy, it takes a little bit. You're going to kind of crunch down a little bit, bring that leg up so you can get the strap around the foot. If you need to roll onto your side body to do that, that would be another option, right? And once you have that loop around your foot, you're going to go ahead and you're going to start to lengthen the right leg out to your right. Now you can keep your forehead down on your left forearm, but again, I'm going to turn my head just a little bit and try to find a little better vocal quality. So from there, your heel does not have to be as high as your hip, by the way. You can just have it out to the side wherever it's comfortable for you, towards a straight leg, right? It works towards straight, but it doesn't have to be straight. So as you push that inner heel a little further away from you, again, can that push the leg out a little bit? Can the right hip gently move down towards the ground? Don't be forceful with any of this. We're just getting in there for goodness sake. But I am going to point out that this is Padangusthasana 2, right? And take another breath. So imagine standing on your left foot, because that's what we're going to do later. Now, you're going to roll onto your left side body. And I'm going to move my mic pack just a little bit so I don't turn the darn thing off. Okay, and then once you're on your left side body, you can use that left arm as a pillow overhead if that feels good, or your forearm or what have you. And then you're going to grab close to that right foot with the right hand again initially. Grab on with the left hand if it's available. You can stay in that neutral position we were just in, or you might start to just kind of fold into a forward fold, feeling the right hamstrings lengthen. You might bring your head between your arms and soften down, but that should not hurt your upper back or any such thing. Stretch, yeah, but not hurt, right? Now you're going to keep the strap with your left hand, and you're going to open up your right arm and reach it behind you. I didn't set up myself far enough away from the wall, so I'm going to do cactus arm. You could do cactus arm, you could do full extended arm, whichever one works best for you. But now we're moving into the twist, right? So as that right heel pushes towards what was the right side of your mat, see if you can turn your ribs, your belly, your shoulders over to the other side of the mat and roll open, maybe even turning and looking towards that right arm / elbow. Take a breath from there. And then we're going to roll back onto our side body. Right arm comes to where it was. You can go ahead and you can take the strap off while you have access to it. Bend the knee, and you're going to go on back down to your belly. And again, maybe crocodile if the shoulders are open enough for that. Maybe elbows a little wider. Or if you're doing the arms by the side, palms up, you are going to turn your head the other direction. And I'm just turning my body so you'll be able to see the working side a little better as we move through this series on the other side. So bend the left knee and let it come out. And first we're just moving towards that half frog pose, I'm going to call it, right? So from there, letting that left knee just gently slide away so that you feel that hip moving down, but don't be too aggressive with that. And just take a couple of breaths thinking of all of those muscles of the inner left groin and pelvis area softening. And again, you got to kind of work it a little bit. You might roll on your side just a little bit if you need to strap the foot. You could just have 2 straps around it that you grab, or you might have the loop. Awesome, whichever one it is. Push the left heel back out. Maybe it's a little further away and not directly out from the hip. Forehead comes back down to the right forearm. Again, I'm going to leave myself a little high for voice, right? My left arm is pretty long and straight, grabbing as close to my foot as I can in my body. And imagine standing on that right foot, because we're going to try that in a little bit. See if you can push even more through the inner right heel, like it could glide or slide away from you, so you feel that inner right groin open up. But keep that left hip gently softening down. Now we're going to roll onto our right side body. If it feels better to just stay here and use that right arm as a pillow in whatever capacity you can. If you want to put both hands on that strap and grab closer to the foot and then start to round the upper back, letting the head come between to come down on the biceps, you can do that. Or support the head with a blanket or a block or whatever you need. And then bring the spine back to neutral. Start to roll that left arm up and open towards the back side of your mat. Cactus arm or extension. Now push your left heel forward in its direction, the inner left heel particularly, right? But can you get your abdomen, your ribs, your chest, your arm, and your shoulder to roll back towards the opposite direction, maybe even turning the head towards that left hand / elbow. Take another breath there. And bring that left arm back. Here's a great place to dismount from the strap. And then you're going to roll onto your back body, but have that strap still handy. So just pause here on your back body. You can be in a Shavasana style position and just soften for a few moments and just notice what you notice in your physical body. So now we're going to hit those same poses again, but we're going to start to work a little bit more because our relationship to gravity has now changed, right? So we're going to bring the right knee in and put the strap around the right foot. and start to push the right heel up. Again, you can work with the loop or two ends to a strap, belt, whatever that is, totally fine. This time we're gonna work the left leg, our standing leg, what will become our standing leg, right? And as we push that left foot down and we work that right thigh down towards the bottom of our mat, we have a pretty straight right arm. We grab as close to the foot as we can, maintaining neutral upper body, neutral spine, neutral pelvis, yeah? Left arm can tee out to the side. That's where it's going to go eventually, right? So now as we start to go to this next piece, the right leg moving to the right, don't let the left hip come up off the ground, right? So don't go so far it lifts. If it starts to lift, that's your edge. You're going to stay above that and you're going to go out to the right wherever it is. Try not to bring the elbow down so you're bearing the weight. You know, you can bring your elbow down if you're like, heck no. And again, come back up higher if your left hip lifts. Push the left heel down, down, down into your imaginary wall or ground. Push the inner right heel further away. See if you can't kind of hug the right glute in a little bit for stability here. Pelvis stays neutral, right thigh reaching down. Take an inhale here. And then you're going to bring that up. You're going to put the strap in the left hand and tee the right arm out. And we're going to lift the right hip and start to roll over into a twist, right? But pause before you go too far. Keep your right ribs and your right waist and your right shoulder heavy, 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 heavy. Don't let it come off of the ground and go only as far as you can this time, right? And no lower than the hip because that's your neutral if we were standing, right? So you might not get to the hip, but if you can go past that, if you're that flexible, please don't, right? Don't go for the mobility, go for the stability. And as you reach the right fingertips towards that right side of the mat, or what was just your right side of your mat, push your inner right heel further to the other direction. And go ahead and bring that back up. Bend the knee, release the strap, release the leg out and pause for just a moment, noticing if your halves of your body feel any different down there. Maybe they feel exactly the same, and that is something to note. Now bring that left knee in, put the strap around the left foot, and start to push that left heel up to the sky. You can go to one hand right off the bat, right arm tees out. Work the right leg for this version. Push the right heel into an imaginary wall, right? And keep that right hip down no matter what. Imagine you're standing on the right leg right now, all that length through the whole spine, because we're going to do that in just a moment, right? Now let the left leg begin to move out to the left, but keep the right hip on the ground. Keep the right hip on the ground. Keep the right hip. You get where I'm going with that. Try not to drop the left elbow down for today's version, right? And we're using strength now. Pull that left glute, kind of suck it in so that left femur moves deeply into the socket, and you'll feel a little more stabilization, I'm hoping, through your pelvic region, right? Take another breath from here, and then bring that back up. Grab onto the strap with the right hand, reach, tee the left arm out. And again, slightly different approach. Do not let your shoulder come up, definitely. Try not to let your left ribs or even the left waist. Now they're gonna go with it a little bit, but we're trying like the Dickens to keep it wrapped down to the earth even as we cross the body with the left leg. No lower than the hip point, the left frontal hip point. And if you are higher, that's totally fine, right? And so again, we're pushing our respective heels into their respective walls, imaginary walls, and our head is turned to the left if we can manage. And bring that back up, bend the knee, release the strap, and we're going to grab the backs of the legs and rock up. That said, you could totally go through the fetal position. We're going to move that blanket, if we were working with one, off to the side and grab the strap. So now people always wonder, or some people get really impatient doing floor work. And I think that floor work is one of the best gifts you can give your body because it sets you up for success so that you can get more depth, more whatever you want to call it, right, when you start to do these things in standing poses. So we've already done all three of these 2 times in different positions to gravity. Right? So now standing up nice and tall, we're going to go the same way. We're going to bring the right leg in. I'll mirror you, right? Have that little loop handy. And as you start to bend the right knee, you're going to hug that left glute in. It already wants to go out behind you. And take your time. If you need a wall, go to a wall. And you're going to grab, strap that foot, either with the loop or with the double strap. Now grab it with your right hand, left hand on the hip. Straighten the left leg, put the weight in the left heel, and then start to reach that right leg out in front of you. Try to drop the right hip down. It's going to want to lift like the Dickens. You might tee that arm out to the side. Feel free to use a wall. And then from there, without your hip moving back, your right hip does not move back. You let the right leg move out to the right, but hug that glute in, that same thing we did just moments ago on the ground. So really stabilize the pelvis here as that leg reaches over to the side. And take a big old breath there. Maybe the heel, left heel can reach down more. Maybe the crown of the head can reach up a little bit more. Maybe you cannot fall over like me. This is my hard side. Come back to center. Not as an excuse, but geez Louise. Go ahead and you're going to grab onto that strap with the left hand. Tee your right arm out. Now try right arm out. Keep your right ribs as best as you can where they are, the right shoulder, and cross that leg across the body as much as you can. Now roll just a little bit, I should say, just past the left hip point. And then you're going to roll your right ribs back. Right, even a little further. And then maybe you turn the head and reach. And reach both heels in their respective directions. Come back through center. Woo, bring that foot down, maybe with a little more grace than what I just did. So I might not have been really clear with that. We're just moving over just a little bit today to move into that twist, just a slightly different approach, right? So standing up nice and tall, feel the right foot rooted. It's all you're going to have on the earth. And then as you bend the left knee and hug the right hip in, take a moment and strap the foot. Feel free to grab a wall for this transition, right? And then from there, when you're ready, you're going to start to bring that leg up and out in front of you, yeah? You can grab that strap with the left hand. Feel your right heel rooted, the weight back. And then from there, maybe that right arm tees out to the side. As that heel pushes down, that's your height, that's your core, that's your stability. Now without your left hip moving back, maybe the left leg starts to move out to the left. But again, hug your left glutes in so that femur stays deeply in the socket, the hip stays super stable, and then push your heels in their respective directions and get a little taller still. And come back through center. Right hand's going to grab the strap. Tee that left arm out to the side for now. Bring the left leg just a little over, like you're doing an IT band stretch. For my regulars, we do that a lot, right? And then from there, you're going to try to wrap your left ribs and your left chest and your left shoulder back behind you any amount. Push your heels out, reach through those left fingertips. And I didn't give you the option on the other side, but you might turn your head and look back. I'm not going to monkey with that today. That doesn't seem, well, actually, why not? If I fall, who cares? Oh, maybe it will work today. Who knew? Get a little taller still. And then I like to turn my eyes first and then my head. It's a spotting technique from dance. I stole it straight from dance. And come forward and bring that leg down. Let's take just a few moments, either lying down on the ground, or if you'd prefer to stand, you can if you don't want to get down back on your mat. But I'm going to take a few moments on my back in Shavasana just so I can really relax completely every single muscle and just kind of tune into what just happened there. Now, if we had a full version of class, that I think is the niftiest way to get to those places, you know, where you can actually hold your balance, where you can feel the deepest stretch, etc. Because we have more time to unfold and unwind the body, stabilize the body, strengthen, right? So, but it's still an interesting self-study to do the poses on the ground with a little more softness and freedom, and then bring it up to the full pose. So just noticing how that was for you today. But mostly soften. Notice what's holding on, let it go, and then tune in and just notice what you feel in your body. Is the energy running differently than when we started class? And then let's reach our arms overhead and lengthen. Maybe point the toes and flex the feet a couple of times. Rolling over to your right. Pause. As you start to push away with that left hand, the head turns down so we stay out of the neck. And come on up to a seated position. Bring your hands together at your heart. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow the head in, and just taking a moment of gratitude here. That you gave yourself the space and time, and hopefully that body feels like it got some good benefits from the Supta Padangusthasana series. Namaste. Actually, it wasn't all supta, some of it was standing. It's a little off today. Which part? I don't know. Have a great day, friends.